Hi friends, welcome back to JP Concepts. First of all, thanks a lot for subscribing my channel. I'm getting a lot of good responses, excellent responses from you guys. I'm so happy for it. So please do supporting me and my channel, JP Concepts. Frequency of inspection. The frequency and extent of inspection on piping circuits depend on the form of degradation or damage that can affect the piping and consequences of piping failure. The owner or user may devise a more extensive classification scheme. The consequences assessment would consider the potential for explosion, fire, toxicity, etc. After an effective assessment is conducted, the result can be used to establish a piping circuit inspection strategy and more specifically with a failure. After effective assessment is conducted, the following things will be decided. 1. Most appropriate inspection methods. B. Appropriate inspection frequency. C. The need for pressure testing after damage repair. D. Prevention and mitigation steps to reduce likelihood or probability and consequence of failure. Sometimes RB assessment may be used to increase or decrease the inspection limits. Now we can discuss about the piping service classes based on the consequences. The class 1. Services with the highest potential of resulting in immediate emergency if leak occur. A. Flammable services that may auto-refrigerate and lead to brittle fracture. Pressurized services that may rapidly vaporize, that may collect and form an explosive mixture such as C2, C3, etc. Other services in class 1 are hydrogen sulfide greater than 3% weight in gaseous stream, anhydrous hydrogen chloride, hydrofluoric acid, piping over or adjacent to water and piping over public throat, means it's in a populated area. This is all coming under class 1. Then class 2. Services not included in other classes are in class 2. That means not included in class 1. Example, on-site hydrocarbons that will slowly vaporize during release, hydrogen, fuel gas and natural gases, on-site strong acid and caustics. These all are coming in class 2. Then what is class 3? Class 3 is services that are flammable but do not significantly vaporize in the event of leak and that are not located in high populated area are coming under class 3. Example, on-site hydrocarbons that will not significantly vaporize during release such as those operating below flash point. Distillate and product lines to and from storage and loading facility. See, off-site acids and caustics. Those are in off-site. That means the consequences of failure will be less for the services. The next topic is inspection interval. It's very important. Inspection intervals can be established using the following criteria. 1. Corrosion rate and remnant life calculation. B. Piping service classification. Applicable jurisdiction requirements. And finally, judgment of the inspector or piping engineer, the piping engineer supervisor or a corrosion specialist. You should memorize these all names. Based on operating condition, previous inspection history, current inspection results and the conditions that may warrant supplemental inspection cover in. The owner or user inspector shall establish inspection intervals for thickness measurements and external visual inspection as and when required based on the condition of the system. Normally, the thickness measurement should be scheduled based on the calculation of not more than half of the remnant life. This half of the remnant life concept is very important in 570 calculations. Okay. Shorter intervals may be appropriate under certain circumstances. The inspection interval must be reviewed and adjusted as necessary after inspection or significant change in operating condition. Please look at the table. Recommended minimum inspection intervals for based on the classes. Class 1, thickness measurement is 5 years. Visual external inspection is 5 years. Class 2, it's 10 and 5. Class 3, 10 years and 10 years, means less consequences of failure. Injection points, it's recommended is 3 years. And soil to interfaces, it's based on the classes. It's user decision. The next, recommended extents of corrosion and insulation inspection following visual inspection. In this table you can see the percentage of the extent of insulation to be removed for inspection and percentage of area to be covered through proper NDE techniques. Here the extent of visual external and corrosion under insulation inspection. External visual inspection including inspections for corrosion and insulation should be conducted at maximum intervals listed in the previous table what I shown. Alternatively, external visual inspection intervals can be established by using a valid RBI assessment conducted in accordance with the APA 580. This external visual inspection on bare pipe is to assess the condition of pain and coating damages. This external visual inspection for potential corrosion and insulation is also to assess insulation condition and shall be conducted on all piping system susceptible to CUI. The result should be documented, that's for sure. The following the external visual inspection of susceptible system, additional examination is required for the inspection of corrosion and insulation. The extent of CUI programs described in the table, the previous table, should be considered as target levels for piping systems and locations with no corrosion and insulation experience. It is recognized that several factors may affect the likelihood of corrosion under insulation. 1. Local climatic condition. B. Insulation design, coating quality and service conditions. You should read this portion from APA 570 very thoroughly. Next one, we can discuss about CMLs, small bore pipings, auxiliary piping and threaded connection inspection. The first one, external thickness measurement inspection. To satisfy inspection interval requirements, each thickness measurement inspection should obtain thickness reading on a representative sampling. It's called CMLs. The sampling also must include CMLs with the earliest renewal date as of the previous inspection. The more CMLs measured for each circuit, the more accurately the next inspection date will be projected. You should use only CML instead of TML. Extent of small bore auxiliary piping and threaded connection inspection. The first point is small bore piping inspection. In general, the pipings less than 2-inch dia is called small bore piping. Small bore piping, that is primary process piping, should be inspected in accordance with the requirement of this document. Small bore piping, that is secondary process piping, that has different minimum requirements depending upon service classification. Class 1 secondary small bore piping shall be inspected same requirements as primary process piping. Inspection of class 2 and class 3 are optional. Small bore piping dead legs in class 2 and class 3 system should be inspected where corrosion has been experienced or anticipated. Inspection of auxiliary piping. Inspection of secondary auxiliary small bore piping associated with instruments and machinery is optional. Criteria to consider in determining whether auxiliary small bore piping will need some form of inspection including the following. 1. Classification. B. Potential for environmental or fatigue cracking. Potential for corrosion based on experience with adjacent primary systems. And the last one, potential for corrosion under insulation. This is well explained in APA 570 and 574. Threaded connection inspections, that also similar to the small bore and auxiliary piping inspection requirements. When selecting TMLs or CMLs on threaded connections, include only those that can be radiography during scheduled inspection. Radiography only possible. Threaded connections associated with machinery and subject to fatigue damage should be periodically assessed and considered for possible renewal with thicker wall or upgrading to welded components. The schedule for such renewal will depend on classification of piping, magnitude and frequency of vibration, amount of unsupported weight, current piping wall thickness, whether or not the system can be maintained on stream, corrosion rate, and intermittent service. The next portion is very important: inspection data evaluation, analysis, and recording. This includes the calculation part of this APA 570 examination. Corrosion rate determination and remnant life assessment. This is the main portion. You can see the remnant life calculation formula. It is T actual minus T required by corrosion rate. This is the formula using for remnant life calculation. Okay. You can see the example. A pipe with an actual thickness of 0.507 inches. You can see the example here. Just try to do yourself with this formula and check the answer. Here you can see the answer for this. The remnant life is calculated as 25.7 years. The next one. What is long-term corrosion rate and short-term corrosion rate? By the name itself it's understood. T initial minus T actual by the time of years, the full life, that is called long-term corrosion rate. What is short-term corrosion rate? It is between the previous inspection and current inspection. T previous minus T actual in over the time years in between. That is called short-term corrosion rate. Please look at this example where this long-term corrosion rate has been calculated. Normally, if you have long-term and short-term corrosion rates, it should be compared to see which result in the shortest remnant life as a part of data assessment. The authorized inspector, in consultation with the corrosion specialist, shall select the corrosion rate, means the appropriate corrosion rate, by considering all the conditions and current process. How to approach the new service and what about change in service inspections? For a new piping system and piping system for which the service conditions are being changed, one of the following methods shall be employed. A corrosion rate for a piping circuit may be calculated from data collected by the owner or user on piping system for similar material in incomparable surfaces. Means it's called similar service assessment. The next, MAWP calculation, maximum allowable working pressure calculation. You can see in the screen, this is a screenshot from API 570. You can see this example and please do yourself this example. It will give you how to calculate this MAWP. 100% sure from these two calculations only, example 1 and 2 only, the questions will come regarding this. So if you are thorough with these calculations based on this, you are okay with this calculation. Please read the footnotes in this. Must reduce inspection interval or determine that normal operating pressure will not exceed this new MAWP during the 7th year, or renew the piping before the 7th year is based on this calculation. And also the formula for MAWP is from ASME 31.3, in that T is corroded thickness. Here, the required thickness determination. The required thickness of a pipe shall be the greater of the pressure design thickness or the structural minimum thickness. For services with high risk, the piping engineer should consider increasing the required thickness to provide for anticipated or unknown loadings or the piping engineer will decide, or the inspection person will decide, which to be considered, whether pressure design thickness or the structural minimum thickness. Next, assessment of inspection findings. The pressure containing components found to have degradation that could affect their load carrying capacity shall be evaluated for continuous service. It's called fitness for service techniques. It's API 579. The following techniques may be used as applicable. To evaluate metal loss in excess of the corrosion allowances, a fitness for service assessment may be performed in accordance with API 579. Assessment of general metal loss, assessment of local metal loss, assessment of pitting corrosion. These all are the different sections 4, 5, 6 from API 579. To evaluate blisters and laminations, API 579 section 7. I will conduct another session for exclusively for API 579 FFS. Next, larger the diameter of the piping and the greater will be the difference between ambient and operating temperature conditions. Piping stress analysis to assess system flexibility and support adequacy is not normally performed as a part of piping inspection. However, many existing piping systems were analyzed as a part of their original design or as a part of a re-rating or modification. Piping stress analysis can be identified the most highly stressed component in a piping system and predict the thermal movement of the system when it is placed in operation. Comparing the predicted thermal movement with the observed movement can help to identify the occurrence of unexpected operating conditions and deterioration of the supports. Consultation with the piping engineer may be necessary to explain observed deviation from the analysis predictions. Piping stress analysis can also be employed to help solve observed piping vibration problems. It is important to determine that guides added to control vibration do not adversely restrict thermal expansion. When we are choosing the vibrating dampers or vibration control devices, lot of calculations should be done. The next is reporting and records. Reporting and records of piping system inspection. The owner or user shall maintain appropriate or permanent or progressive records of each piping system covered by API 570. Computer programs are particularly useful for the following system items. Storing the actual thickness readings. We are using something like inspection data management softwares for that. Next, calculating short-term and long-term corrosion rates, retirement dates, MAWP and re-inspection intervals on a test point by test point basis. Highlighting areas of high corrosion rate, circuits overdue for inspection, circuits close to retirement thickness and other information. This all we are using different software for different companies for these purposes. Fitness for service assessment documentation requirements are described in API Recommended Practice 579 Section 2.8. Care should be taken to ensure that the statistical treatment of circuits data results in prediction that accurately reflect the actual condition of the piping circuit. What next? In the next session, we are going to discuss about repair, alteration and re-rating of piping systems, and it will take 2 or 3 more episodes to complete the code API 570, and we have to discuss other related codes for API 570 certification. As usual, stay tuned. Please subscribe my channel JP Concepts and press the bell icon. Thank you. Bye bye.